time to fuel your business success. Welcome to Harmonious at Lunch. We're bringing you bite-sized advice and expert conversations to drive clarity and growth 5 days a week. Make sure you join our Facebook group at humanopt.com/lunch, where listeners like you and our guests hang out so we can find harmony in business together. If you're building a business, you're in the right place. Let's dive in.
Welcome back into some more bite-sized business advice. In today's episode, we're talking about your profits. That's right. Some of you business owners don't know what that word is, but that's okay. All jokes aside, we're going to tell you how to get there quickly, and a new way to look at being profitable in business. I have a very special guest with me, Deknight. Welcome to the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Debbie, I came on to the backstage, if you will, and I said, I hear we're talking about my favorite topic of Profit First today. I love Profit First. I think it's a total game changer, and it's definitely going to help the listeners at least look at their business finances and their profitability in a new light. So before we get super deep into this, can you just give me the high level overview of what is Profit First and what are we really talking about today for those who have never heard of the system before?
So Profit First is essentially a cash flow system, and it works with human behavior. So when we turn around as a business owner and we go, okay, sales minus our expenses equals our profit, we only put our emphasis, our energy towards what comes first. But when you do it with Profit First, it becomes sales minus profit equals your expenses. You turn around and put the emphasis on profit, and the expenses need to fit the money that is left over after you pull out your profit, after you have your owner's pay of what you're worth getting as pay, and have your taxes set aside for Uncle Sam because he waits for no one. So it's a mind shift that changes how we look at things to work with the way that we're naturally wired. It gives clarity and control over your finances. It brings profit to the front, where you build profit into everything you do in your business. It's not an afterthought. It's not something that you hope is there at the end of the day. It's something you build directly into your business.
Yeah, when I first stumbled upon it, I was actually helping run another company. This was before I even started my first business. And it was cash flow was always an issue, right? There was busy seasons, there were slow seasons. So it was a very up and down cyclical business. And it was like, great, busy season's fantastic. You feel good, everything's flowing, and then money gets tight and you're tense. And I was like, there has to be a better way to manage your finances. And this just made sense to me. So I love that you said it's a system that leverages human behavior and human tendencies, because you kind of just put the bumpers on your financial life as a business owner. So I'm curious though, because I was in business, but you're a CPA, you do CFO work, you do bookkeeping. What about the system made sense to you, and how'd you actually dive into it and now use it with your clients? Because I have pissed off a number of CPAs in my past because I use the system in my business.
Well, actually, I'm not a CPA.
Sorry, disclaimer, I'm a complete liar, and please listen to Debbie, not me.
We don't do the taxes.
Okay.
But yes, we do get a lot of people that come to us that say their bookkeeper or their CPA doesn't like what they're doing, because Profit First builds on having separate bank accounts for separate purposes. There is an income account where all the money comes in, and then you have a profit account, an owner's pay account, a tax account, OPEX account. A lot of people have a payroll or a materials and subs account, and there's transfers done possibly twice a month, possibly every week, depending on your business. And the money is just moved out for purposes. So when you look at the bank account for your OPEX, you know what you actually have. to spend for OpEx. When you look at a payroll bank account, you know, okay, I've got enough money set aside to pay my people, plus I've got the money in OpEx, plus I've got money set aside for my quarterly tax payments. It gives you clarity by using multiple accounts instead of just one. And the CPAs and a lot of the bookkeepers, when they see, oh, you've got 5 accounts, 8 accounts, 10 accounts, they're like, no, this is too much work. But it's not, because you're really only allocating no more than once a week. So 4 times a month, you're moving money. It's not a big deal. They are just so used to the way that they've done things in the past. And let's face it, a lot of the people who are CPAs and who are doing taxes and stuff nowadays are really up there in age. They're very locked into the way that they've always done it, and they're not really open to changing. But we actually have a lot of CPAs in Profit First who are certified and who welcome clients who are turning around and doing Profit First.
Yeah, that's what I did, because I had to switch CPAs, and it was the whole suite, right? It was bookkeeping, accounting, CPA, because I had 9 accounts. That was my that's just where I landed with my business, and the reconciliation at the end of the month, which I hear what you're saying, it's not that hard, but it's more than they're used to, and it's like, okay, I'm a robot for 99% of my day, and I have to do the same thing with every client, and then this weirdo has 9 accounts. Not cool. I don't want to work with that weirdo. So yeah, if you're gonna go this route, that's just a small little asterisk on this episode, is you may piss off your accounting team, but worth it in the end. So let's talk about the transition. Give me a sense of what a business is usually feeling where, okay, it's time we get a new system in here, a new cash flow management system in here. What do the symptoms look like?
Well, let's just say that you're a 7-figure business, and at the end of the month, you're looking at your bank accounts and you're going, how the hell can I be so busy and so broke and have nothing left?
Or why is that number red?
Oh, yeah, definitely. You know, if your accounts aren't growing, your profit, and I'm not talking just a savings account to buy a piece of equipment later, because that's actually OpEx. A actual profit account is not growing. And if you're not putting aside enough money to pay for taxes, and if you're not paying yourself what as a business owner you should be making, you've got a problem somewhere. And it needs to be addressed, because if your business has grown to that size, you should be able to do all of those things. And a fabulous part of Profit First is every quarter, you get to take 50% of that money that's in your profit account as a bonus, a payback for all the stress and the sleepless nights and the aggravation that goes along with owning a business. So that's on top of the salary that you're going to be making. So it really puts you more into the financial space that you want it to be in when you set out and started a business.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting to see the switch and how quickly it can be made. Now, it's not overnight. It's not like you implement the system and, oh, look, I'm profitable. That's actually a complete lie. It is, because that's the whole point of the system, is to start pulling profit. It's not like 6-7 figures profitable. Is my point. But moving forward, the problems are evident. All right. If you have financial stress, if you have no money in the bank account, if the numbers are red at the end of the month, there's something wrong. Well, I think we all get that as business owners. I'm curious from your perspective and for your clients, what are some of the opportunities that have been unlocked by switching to Profit First, or what are sort of the cool wins and stories that you've experienced?
We're turning around and we're able to plan. Like we do a lot of things with people in the trades and the service industries. So instead of taking out a loan for that next van that they need, we've been able to put the money away to pay cash for that. We've got people in the auto repair industry where we planned for a new building, an expansion. They weren't necessarily able to pay for the building, but they could pay for the additional lifts, the additional equipment, all the repair that had to be done to get that set up for them. We've got people who are able to start taking a vacation, and we've worked with them on streamlining processes in the business where it can start to run without you. We didn't start the business to work 50, 60-hour weeks forever. That was something we knew we'd have to do in the beginning, but as business goes along, I think the idea is to be streamlined, to have the right butts in the seats, to be profitable enough to turn around and be able to work yourself out of the business and have the right people there who can run it for you so that you can take a week off. You can take a month off. You can work part-time. We want to eventually have a business that can essentially run without us. But in order to do that, you have to be profitable. You have to be able to pay the right people to work yourself out of it. So, even if you want to say you want to build it and you want to sell it, you're going to get a lot more money for a business that is profitable, that is organized, that is streamlined, when you're ready to sell. So you've just got to turn around and look at the business with different eyes, because as the business grows in revenue, you have different problems that come up. In the beginning, the problem is, how do I pay myself? How do I stay in business? But then once you get past that $1 million, $2 million mark, now it's okay. How do I make this a business that has built-in profitability, that is sustainable, and that doesn't need me 40, 50, 60 hours a week anymore?
Yeah, I think the problems is actually one of the interesting things that, quite frankly, surprised me about the business. So most of our listeners, I'm just going to go out on a limb, all of them are not accountants. They're not bookkeepers. They don't care for the finances. And I know that's my story too. That's why the system intrigued me. But the problems it revealed in my business were just mind-boggling, right? Because I thought there was a lead problem or a cash flow problem. Turns out there's actually a spending problem, and it's in the OpEx account, because that one's always the one that's drawn to zero. So tell me about what does that look like for a company when they implement the system and they actually live by it? How quickly you can find and pinpoint problems, and how do you help your clients do that so it's even quicker than just looking at the bank accounts, but then actually digging into the finances and saying, no, your problem is like right there?
So one of the problems that people have, I think, is that they don't have their chart of accounts and their P&L set up to give them the clarity that they need to run their business. Especially if you're working with a CPA. They are notorious for just lumping things into big groups, because that's how it hits your tax return. They're only concerned with that. Where when you are looking to be profitable, you need a highly broken out P&L in order to turn around and do that. And once you have that, then we can start looking at expenses. Then we can look at things like payroll. Are you overstaffed? Do you have staff that's not performing? Then we look at, say, if you're in the trades, what are you doing with your estimating? Are you actually incorporating all the costs? Are you doing your all-in labor when you're figuring things, your regular labor? There are so many places that a business can leak profitability. The first thing is you have to have good financials so that we can tear them apart to find where the problem is, and open up your bank accounts, open up a profit account, if nothing else, from listening to this, and start putting 1 or 2% of your monthly income into that profit account. You'll be amazed at how that starts to add up and how that gives you a feeling of actually, I'm doing well. Look at that. I actually have profit. There's something left. It gives you just the desire to have more accounts, the desire to have more clarity, the desire to see, where can I go from here? Revenue means nothing at the end of the month if you've got nothing left in your accounts. Revenue is not going to get you to the business that you want unless you have financial control. We've got businesses who are doing, $6-7 million a year in revenue, and they've got $1 million in debt. It's not all about sales. It certainly plays in. I'm not saying it's not important, but that is not the end all be all to get you to where you want to be. And out there in the world, there's this misconception that if you just more sales, it will eventually work out. It will eventually come. You'll eventually be profit. And that's nonsense. Profit has to be built in. You have to have financial controls. You have to turn around and keep control of your expenses, because what happens naturally is as sales increase, expenses increase. Sometimes they increase at the same rate, and that's why you feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're busier and busier, but you're not getting anywhere. And there are times where the expenses outweigh the income. Your sales went up, but you spent more than what the sales went up. So now you've actually gone backwards and got yourself in a bigger problem than what you had before you increased your sales.
Yeah, it's a common issue in business because everyone wants to grow their business and scale their business. It's a common term. Scale only comes when you separate your revenue from your expenses. And you can't do that unless you have financial clarity. If you grow your revenue 100%, but you grow your expenses 100%, you're just risking a shorter runway to going out of business. And that's not a good way to run a business. So Debbie, that's why I love this topic, because it truly did change the trajectory of my first business. And even the one that I was managing when I stumbled upon the book. So I really appreciate you coming here and sharing the system. If someone hasn't heard of Profit First who's listening, first of all, what's the address of your rock that you're living under? Because I want to come knock on it and say hi to you, check in and see if you're okay. It's been around for a while now. But second of all, Debbie, where can people go and learn more about you and Profit First and incorporating it in their business?
Sure. They can go to our website, rightwayprofits.com. It talks about fractional CFO services, which is understanding those numbers, tearing things apart, Profit First, bookkeeping. But I've got an awesome download that I'd like to provide to your listeners if they're interested. And it's the Profit Revolution, the starter kit and cash flow self-assessment. So this is going to turn around and give them some clarity on where they are right now in their business. It's going to walk them through a instant assessment for Profit First, which will give them an idea of where they are versus where they should be if they have a truly profitable business. It's going to give them a cash flow guide that's going to walk them through fixing some of the general issues that people have. And it's going to give you a self-assessment worksheet to see really how in control of your numbers are you? How much are you paying attention? So they can turn around and find that on the link. Specifically for the download, it is only for people who listen to me on the podcast. So it's not just out there for everyone.
It's a super secret link. It's down in the show notes. So go check that out. Everything's down there. We got Debbie's website, her social media links. You can connect with her and that download as well. Buckle your chair, buckle yourself up before you take it. You never know what's going to happen. You might wince when you see the number at the end. It's okay. There's a path to fix it, I promise. Debbie, thank you so much for being here. This was a fun episode.
Thank you very much.
Those of you watching, listening, go check out the show notes. I promise you, you're going to want to get financial control in your business. And then come back here and subscribe for tomorrow's episode. We'll help you build a more harmonious business and life. We'll see you tomorrow.
Another episode of Harmonious at Lunch in the books. I hope this episode made you think and you grabbed some actionable ideas to propel your business. Don't forget to like, comment your takeaways, and subscribe wherever you're listening so we can help more entrepreneurs just like you achieve harmony in your life and business. For cutting-edge tools that bring clarity to your people and processes, check out humanoff.com.